Freddy, Freddy, hey, Freddy Media run the play. Freddy, Freddy, hey, you know, we don't play. Let's get to work.
Hey everybody, welcome to Freddy News. It is August 18th, and let's get into our first story and get you back before lunch. So Meta has a $1.4 trillion youth safety trial, and it begins over Instagram and Facebook, and states like California, Colorado, Kentucky, and New Jersey are alleging that Meta designed Facebook and Instagram to be addictive to minors, and it broke federal law. Plaintiffs want changes like eliminating infinite scroll, autoplay, stories, beauty filters, and unverified multiple accounts for minors. I know the other day my kids got a hold of my phone and they started using Grok to make like pictures of themselves, and they were adding face filters. It was so strange, and it was kind of emblematic of exactly the way a child would pick up a phone and begin using it, and it's really dark. And I have to say, I'm kind of on the side of the plaintiffs here. This is cultural poison. It's not for children. And let's see if we can find a way to make social media less damaging to American youth so they're not addicted to it. Have you guys heard of that term, the Gen Z stare? How like the young people, when you go to order something at Chipotle, they look at you like this. I think maybe whoever comes after them, Gen Alpha, let's see if they're a little more socially acute than the Gen Z stare. Let's get to the next one. So Venezuela, ever since the United States deposed Maduro a few months ago, they have increased oil production from 489,000 barrels exported to 800,000 barrels exported per day. The story there is it's like a dirtier crude. It has to go to those ports in Houston to be refined. But overall, I guess things are getting better there. The acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, freed 300 political prisoners and closed a notorious detention facility called El Helciode. Felipe, let me know if I nailed that one. And Maduro-era figures like Defense Minister Gonzalez Lopez and Diosdado Cabello remain powerful. So there is still a faction there that was loyal to Maduro. But I mean, this is just kind of like a half in, half out scenario, yet the oil is flowing. So I guess the United States is happy with it. But, you know, hopefully Venezuela stabilizes. It's kind of like the most beautiful place in the world. And it's in our hemisphere. It's a strategic asset. Could be a great strategic partner for the United States. It's basically been off limits for the past 30 years. And hopefully something comes to pass that's beneficial for both the United States and the people of Venezuela who dearly need it. Let's get to the next one. So Stripe has closed a $7 billion acquisition of the AI gateway startup OpenRouter. If you've ever built something with an AI platform, there's inevitabilities. You have to integrate an email platform because people need to be able to log in and get notifications. You have to integrate certain things, but where rubber meets the road is you have to integrate a way to pay for it, a way a customer can pay for the service or product. And that's where Stripe comes in. Stripe is basically a payment service, and it's huge. It's like the 10,000-pound gorilla. And integrating Stripe into a vibe coding platform is a little clunky. Some platforms like Lovable have instant little plugins, some don't. However, they went ahead and bought OpenRouter, which is just a unified API ecosystem that integrates much more than just payment ecosystems. But I mean, like, how much does this change the profile of Stripe? They may become the biggest AI platform in the world right now, because the most important integration you can have on an AI platform is how the hell are people going to actually pay for it? Stripe. So now Stripe becomes even more ubiquitous to the AI technology that everybody's building. If somehow, I don't know what people are using besides Stripe. I mean, if you don't use Stripe, you have to go through this like crazy underwriting process through their competitors that don't have the credit history that Stripe does. So I mean, Stripe is really your only option. But now Stripe is just going to like roll up the entire AI business even more than they already are. Great acquisition by Stripe. Stripe to the moon. This is as big as it's going to get. Let's get to the next one. Along the lines of that Meta lawsuit where they're facing $1.4 trillion cost potentially, OpenAI seems to be getting out ahead of something like that. So they're launching a teen-specific version of ChatGPT with new safety guardrails targeting people from 13 to 17 with parental controls, quiet hours, stronger safeguards around self-harm content. Teens had already been using OpenAI. A lot of the studies on that are really dark. They're using it kind of as a therapist or a friend. And, hopefully this is a good thing. But sometimes when tech companies do something like this, there may be alternative motivations. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is a good thing, but all in all, children and the way they use technology is a cultural imperative. We just cannot allow these things to destroy our kids. Let's get to the next one. General Motors launches a $4 billion parts venture, and they basically secured financing from JP Morgan and Santander so they could have a giant parts infrastructure. The story behind it is cars have become so expensive. $80,000 trucks are like, the starting price nowadays. So everybody is buying used. So General Motors is trying to remain relevant in the used market by ensuring that they have enough parts business in the future. And that also supports their new vehicles as well. But the average new car price in 2026 is basically 50 grand, 49,855 according to KBB. I own a company. I'm not a deadbeat. I wouldn't pay 50 grand for a car. It's just not something I could justify myself doing. I'd rather have a surfboard or like my kids going to a nice school. There's so many more important things, but I guess we're all paying $50,000, $80,000 for cars, and GM saying if you're gonna, kind of back down to the used market, we'll be the people with all the parts. So let's get to the next one. Ferrari was widely mocked when they released the Luce. It was that really ugly, there it is right there, ugly, plasticky, looks like an iPhone, it looks like an Apple computer from 2003. This thing sucks. And then they took it to Monterey Car Week, and it was the first Sotheby's auction to roll across the block, and some goofball bid $40 million on it. He kind of looks like a character out of, he might be like the Monopoly Man's squash partner. And despite the backlash at the $626,000 price point, it's already hit a sales record in China. So are we designing cars for China nowadays? I mean, look at that. That is an objectively ugly car. This is sad when like the birthplace of fashion, Italy, this is what they produce, and it's an EV. The whole thing sucks. I hate it. I hate it as much as I hate the $40 million thing. Let's get to the next one. So crypto firm ALX Crypto invests $12 million into Faraday Future to explore tokenizing the EV maker stock. Faraday Future is this company that's building those like little dog robots, the humanoid Tesla robots that'll be like your plumber and electrician and your housemaid and the guy, they're building all those robots. They also just build standard EVs. So apparently this company is so important that ALX Crypto is going to invest $12 million to tokenize the EV automaker's stock so that they can basically test out the non-traditional capital markets with a blockchain alternative. Do we need this? This is stupid. $500,000 worth of common stock at 11.5 million Series C preferred, plus a 1 million share warrant at $1.50. And the warrant only vests once Faraday Future delivers 500 of its long-delayed FX Super. This is the most contingent deal of all time. What am I even talking about? Something that'll never come true. Felipe, give me something that actually exists today. So Freddy Media went ahead and launched FRDD.io, Freddy.io. It's the first link in bio for executives. We've been in the influencer game for like 3 years now. We've worked with the biggest people across the internet. The George Salibas, all of them. And they've always had a link in bio because they get a lot of traffic off of social media. But the problem is when you use their platforms, they look like your 12-year-old's TikTok page. So Felipe and I built one that looks more like something Patrick Bateman would use, like a professional stationery, something that you would be proud of. You can input your company branding on it. You can manage all the employees at your company to make sure that they have a standardized link in bio and company branding across all the social media platforms that they're using. Because right now your company's getting deals off of Instagram, they're getting deals off of LinkedIn, X, TikTok, but what are you funneling them to? For the longest time, I just sent them to my newsletter, which I think is a good idea. So we went ahead and made a custom newsletter button here. We made a book a call, or, you can basically make a call to action, check out my link in bio. So now you can be like an influencer, except not so cringy. You can be more professional. So check out Freddy.io, and thank you for hopping on today.
Freddy News, where operators tap in.